Don't mind your business. Mind my podcast, Mind Elixir. Hi, and what is up? Merry belated Christmas, and to all the people of other cultures and religions, happy Hanukkah and joyous Kwanzaa. It is the new year. Well, yeah, by the time you listen to this, it will be the new year, and it is the new year for me right now. So, yay, 2021. And if you don't already know me, my name is Ayoka. I started this podcast to share my experiences, thoughts, and other random things with teens and other random people online. So, yeah. Let's get into it. I literally feel like I haven't recorded in quite a while, and I actually haven't. Well, I recorded this episode yesterday, but then I messed up on it. So I'm having to re-record it and keep the same type of energy. We love that. But I'm actually trying to do more holiday or themed episodes and bonus episodes similar to this one. You know how this one is going to be kind of New Year's themed, but I just really need to plan ahead for these fun and holiday and bonus these type of episodes because whenever I want to do a themed episode, I'm always way too late because I never plan ahead. Like I wanted to do something for Christmas and Halloween, but then they just passed so quickly. But I know that now I will be planning ahead. I'll try to do something special for Valentine's Day or something like that. And I need to start playing that right now. Which, speaking of all of that, make sure to leave a review, subscribe, leave a rating, all of that, Apple Podcasts, and follow me on my Instagram at mind.elixir. So, yeah, this year we've had a whole lot of things going on. And I just really wanted to go over the year in a review, what's happened, basically a 2020 recap. And this year, a whole lot of things have happened, or as some people like to call it, the unprecedented times. I have heard that word so much. Like, I don't even think I've ever heard that word before this pandemic, before this panini, before this Panera bread. I don't think I ever heard the word unprecedented times, but now I basically hear it on every other commercial, every other news report, these unprecedented times. But anyway, since these unprecedented times, there has been a lot of stuff that's happened, and it's like, wow, that really happened all in one year. And I know, like, I feel like we all literally wish that the coronavirus, it could have just packed it up at 12 on New Year's Eve and been gone, but that's not how things work, sadly. Oh well. And basically, so when did we go into quarantine? We went into quarantine around March, and I remember I really just thought it was just going to be 2 extra weeks of summer break. Yay. I was actually really happy for that because I did not know what this virus would bring, which some good things, some bad things came out of this virus, all of that. And yeah, basically, we thought it was just going to be 2 extra weeks this summer break. I was like, yay, we get more extra time to relax. I was not ready to go back to school. Then, bam, I'm staying at home this whole entire time. And then in June, we had the Black Lives Matter movement. And a lot of good things came from that movement. We had like racial reckonings. Well, that's a lot of what I like alliterations in case you couldn't tell. A lot of people observed their stance on race. They looked at the privilege they had. They started to educate themselves on social issues and things around racism and all of that. And we did make a little bit of progress, but of course, there's much more to be made in regards of progress and civil rights and stuff regarding that sort of thing. But the Black Lives Matter movement, it has still achieved quite a bit. I actually did an episode about that and all of the some of the achievements of the Black Lives Matter movement. So that was pretty great. And then in May, I started this podcast, the one you're actually listening to right now. And my podcast start, it was a very bumpy and questionable start. Like, I got discouraged a bit because I was like, why isn't it growing? Blah, blah, blah. Or I just wouldn't have ideas. I think I probably, if I could go back and redo it, I would plan things out better instead of just starting it because I think I was really excited to start it. So I didn't spend enough time doing it, and like I had to re-release and redo and re-edit all of these episodes and all of that. And also I think at the beginning I didn't really have that many resources at hand, so I didn't really understand how to start a podcast as well. But Anchor, it really has helped me. Anchor, in case you don't know, Anchor is what I use to record my podcast. It really did help me with doing this whole podcast thing, and I'm really glad I did it. I did start this podcast. Like, even if I don't see much growth, I still am successful in more ways or one way or another regarding this podcast, and that's what really matters. And yeah, there were lots of ups and downs regarding with this podcast, but I'm glad I started it. And then it's in September we had Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Supreme Court justice. She died. And there were so many monumental things she did during her career. Like, one notable thing, like, I can't believe this, but apparently women couldn't sign up for a mortgage, or they couldn't even have a bank account without a male like a man's approval, or like a man helping. Like, what? Like, they had to have a man co-sign the thing. So she made it so that a woman could sign their own mortgage or have their own bank account without a man co-signer, or man that co-signs it. That was kind of shocking to me that that even had to be done. Like, there's so much more stuff she did, but that was just one of the more notable things that stood out to me. And then also in September, we had the baby shower that started a wildfire. I cannot believe that even happened. That's really crazy. How does, like, that kind of makes, like, I don't even think I want, well, not a baby shower, a gender reveal. That kind of makes me think, like, I don't even want to have a gender reveal, first of all, because I feel like they're an outdated concept. Second of all, because sometimes they're just questionable. I don't know. I'd probably have a baby shower rather than just a gender reveal, personally. But a whole wildfire just because you wanted to reveal the gender of your baby. Huh? Well, not even the gender, the sex of the baby. And then also in September. There were a lot of things that happened in September. TikTok almost got banned. I feel like TikTok, it's gotten banned, almost gotten banned so many times. And that kind of says a lot about the power of TikTok. I mean, like, most I feel like most teens probably have TikTok too. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that TikTok has so much power. I mean, there are many benefits to it, but then there is a very toxic side of that. And also, speaking of TikTok, I actually made a TikTok account for my podcast. I believe it is called Mindelixir Podcast. Yeah, I made a TikTok account for my podcast so that I can actually start posting reels on Instagram. And I promised myself that this time I'm gonna start being more active on Instagram and making actually cool posts and stuff like that. And honestly, 2020 as a whole, it was a quite an interesting year, and like it was really a year of self-discovery for many. I mean, you had all this time to yourself and you picked up new hobbies and all of that. And during 2020, we saw a lot of people doing great creative things, but we also saw a lot of people lacking common sense. Like, who knew people would get so mad about having to wear a mask? Like, it's just literally just that thin sheet of paper thingy, or whatever, a mask, a thin sheet of fabric, and people got so mad. There was so much uproar over that. You never would have thought that. But anyway, here we are at the new year, 2021, ready to embrace new things and trying out new things and all of that. And I know people always say the new year is going to be different. This new year, it's going to be different for me. And that kind of sounds cheesy, but we really do need to start keeping those promises to ourselves whenever we say this year is going to be different, or I'm going to do this year, this new year. And yeah, and I think it and we can a way we can keep those promises to ourselves is by making goals or setting resolutions. And to be honest, I always used to think that goals were kind of useless. I was just like, whatever, who cares? Goals, that's too much work. I would just do whatever I wanted to do and like have a goal in my head kind of, but not really call it a goal. But this year I've been thinking that goals, they actually are kind of good. And I even remember whenever I was in school, they would make us do this thing called SMART goals. That's an acronym for like specific, measurable, achievable something goals. and I would really brush that off. But I think goals, they actually are kind of important because it kind of gives you like a purpose or a new thing to go or reach towards or work towards achieving. And for me personally, I need to stop procrastinating. That is one of my goals because I do this thing where I really get distracted easily, especially during online school with all these distractions. Like, we're literally online, and online there are a lot of distractions because there's no one to stop you from just going on Netflix while you're supposed to be doing your geometry homework. And basically, I've realized something that I do a lot is productive procrastination. So, whenever I should be working on my AP Human Geography map or whatever, or AP Human Geography work, I'll just go to another tab and start working on creating graphics for Instagram for my podcast or start outlining a podcast episode. But really, I should be focusing on the work at hand, my schoolwork during school hours. And yeah, so basically, I'm telling myself that, oh, because I'm working on something else, this podcast, I'm being productive. I'm not really procrastinating. But productive procrastination is still procrastination at its finest. And I think I really just need to work harder on focusing on the tasks at hand. And especially, I just downloaded this app called Notion that someone recommended, and I'm going to start using it more often. I just have to learn how to use it because it's kind of hard. It's this basically productivity app where you can organize your tasks and all of that and what you'd like to do in a day and set deadlines and timelines and lists and stuff like that. So I need to start using that better, and that will probably help me. And then also something else, I think I need to be like less impulsive or just, yeah, just less impulsive because sometimes I just see things that make me angry and then I'll just do impulsive things that I shouldn't do. And I just need to, instead of being angry at whatever, I need to think about what I'm doing and how it can affect others or affect me and why it would not be wise for that situation or why it wouldn't be the best thing to do at that moment, and then reevaluate, just less impulsive and less angry about things in general. And then something else is I'd like to be more persistent. I've noticed that I get very discouraged very easily, but I need to be more persistent because just because something doesn't work one way doesn't mean it won't work another way. Just because get a little discouraged, I need to think about new solutions or ways to do this outside of the box and what I can do to maybe help me accomplish something if I'm feeling discouraged about it. I just need to be more persistent, you know? But actually been working on that and I think I'm getting better at that. This next goal is kind of something more podcast related. I'd like to become a better speaker because I feel as though in my podcast I'm not that great of a speaker and that my transitions, they're kind of transitions from one topic to another, they're kind of choppy and not that smooth. I just like my words to flow more freely and better. And I definitely like to get better at utilizing better vocabulary when forming my sentences and talking, and just get better at explaining my ideas or what I think about something. And yeah, something like that. And that would really help me. It wouldn't just help me with this podcast, but of course, that is kind of the main thing that it would help me with. But it also help me, like, just in life too, just to be a better speaker. And when setting goals, well, for me at least, I just I think it's important to look at what you've done over the year and just think about how you can do better or how the goal will help you in life and all of that. Because, like, even though you may look at your past self or your past actions or what you've done in the past and you may cringe, that just means that you've grown as a person, that you feel that you're a better person or that you've improved in some way or another. And I just think whenever setting goals, you have to look at what you can do better, what you've done, or what you'd like to do with your life. And some tips for setting goals that you could probably use or that I use I just make first of all, I have to make sure they make sense. Like if you have a random wacky goal that makes no sense, like you just have a goal to I don't know, you have something that's like nearly impossible or something that's just crazy and isn't very achievable or realistic, then that should probably not be your goal. And then second of all, I think it's important to break your goals into smaller parts so that they're easier to understand and or do, like and just making milestones out of those goals itself. The just breaking them whenever I say breaking them into smaller parts, I mean saying the components of the goal, what the small parts of this, what can I do to achieve that goal? And maybe making milestones to it, like I did this on my path to achieving that goal. And another thing to do with goals is to make them into habits because habits are something that's repetitive and that will help you in the long run keep doing your goal and keep working towards your goal. For example, if your goal is to maybe get fit through 2020, first you break it up into smaller parts like I want to exercise, I want to eat better. And then you can make it into making your goal into habits. Maybe for the exercise part, you can be like, I'll do 10 push ups every morning. And then that becomes a habit, which is part of your greater, more general, bigger goal that covers all of that. And whenever making goals, of course, you want to think about what you'll gain from doing it and why you actually want to achieve it. If you just have a goal that's meaningless, then you're probably not going to feel much motivation to actually do it. But if it's something that's relevant to your life and something that you can understand how it will benefit you, then you'll have more motivation to achieving it, and you'll most likely be more successful in doing it. I think that's what I think, at least. And of course, I said you have to think about how you can accomplish that. I already went over that. And of course, remember that your goals, they don't have to be anything big. Like you don't have to, and you don't even have to set goals for the new year if you don't want to. You can just keep doing or working toward what you want to do. And another thing is that you don't even need to wait. You don't need to wait until the new year to set a goal. Like you don't need to limit yourself or just set a certain number for when you want to achieve your goal or how you want to accomplish it. It can just be a general like thing you want to work towards. You don't have to wait until the new year and say I need to achieve my goal by now. I mean that can be helpful for giving you more motivation or strive or drive to do it, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can just be like, I want to just do this goal or I want to try out that by some time. And what was I saying? Oh, you don't have to wait until the new year. We can I think the new year it's just like a more convenient time for setting goals. I mean, like that's when everybody wants to and stuff, but really you can just set a goal at the weekend or the week or the end of a month or whenever, large or small goals. And I think we should feel hopeful about this new year, about ourselves and about others. I mean, just look at how far you've come as a person. Like you're still here, alive, thriving or surviving. And of course, that's great. And even if you may feel as though there's a lot wrong with what you've done, or that even if you feel that you haven't achieved anything super great over 2020, we have still completed 365 days around the sun. And you can thank yourself for that. Just look at how you've evolved as a person and evaluate whether you'd like to change your mindset on one thing or another, or change your perspective, or gaining new ways about thinking about different things and topics and stuff like that. Think about who you are as a person and what you'd like to succeed at and what you'd like to improve at. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and an even greater new year. And just remember to keep being wonderfully you. And of course, leave a review, subscribe, and follow my podcast on Instagram, linked down below. And of course, TikTok too. I'm about to be TikTok famous. Although TikTok I don't want to get addicted to it because now I remember why I deleted TikTok in the first place because I was getting a little bit addicted and also because of the toxic parts, of course. But anyway, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything else, email me at mindelixir.thepodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, that is pretty much it for today. Bye. See you next Wednesday.